can. You can ask questions, of course, using the form that is linked over there by either Todd or Dave. Let me just see how things are going here. Sometimes the live stream starts right away. Sometimes it doesn't. We're just going to wait and see if things are working. It says that everything is working properly, so I hope that you are seeing me at your end. Let me just check the audio for a second. Looks like everything's working. I wish there was perfect technology where everything worked all the time. That doesn't always seem to be the case, but it looks like everything's working right now. So that is wonderful. Again, I am Bob the Canadian. Just give me 1 sec here. I want to try refreshing my screen. Everything's working on your end, but not quite on mine. Anyways, good morning to Todd. Good morning to Dave who are in the chat. A few rules that you need to know. This is a live question and answer session about the English language. If you have a question, please do ask it in the chat over there on my screen. Sorry, don't ask the question in the chat. I mess this up all the time. Don't ask the question in the chat. There will be a form linked in the chat that you can use to ask your questions. I do want to mention that yesterday we did do a short lesson on restaurants. That lesson is available on my channel today. There is a shorter version of the lesson that you can watch if you want. So again, use the link in the description below or the link in the chat in order to ask your questions. Did I point the wrong way again? Maybe I should just get started. That's usually the best thing to do. Instead of talking so much, I should just see if there are questions that I can start answering. There usually are. You guys are really good about asking questions very quickly. So let's get started with the actual question and answer lesson. Salih Abid from Saudi says, does traveling from Canada to the United States require a passport, or is a national identity card sufficient? So my understanding is that you need a passport. A long time ago, well, actually not a long time ago, about 5 or 10 years ago, Canadians did not need a passport to go to the United States. My family now, when we travel to the United States, all of us who are older than 16, I think, have a passport. And the younger kids, we just need their birth certificates. I'm not sure if a national identity card would work. In Canada, I'm not even sure if a national identity card exists. There might be one. Most Canadians just have a passport and they use that in order to go to the United States. Next question is from Natalie Lee. Hi, Bob. It's Natalie Lee. Could you tell me the difference between I finished the work myself and I finished the work by myself? Thanks. So they mean the same thing. If you had a job to do and if you did all of the work by yourself, you could literally say, I finished the work myself. Like, hey, boss, I finished the work myself. It's all done. Or you could say, hey, boss, I finished the work by myself. It's all done. Both are completely correct and both are excellent. Hey, I want to just say hi to Madi, Brent from American English with This Guy. I see Rod is in the chat. Lolly is in the chat. Some of my members are here. I know Rachel is here. I know Regina Kim is here. Vitali Smirnov is here. Samuel Chen is here. Thank you so much. Miha is here. Alina is here. I used one of Alina's questions the other day on my other channel. It was a great question. Actually, it was a statement, not a question, but it was a good comment anyway. Sam the Taiwanese is here. Good to see all of you. Again, thank you to everyone who is here. We are going to look at a number of questions about the English language. Let me get the next question ready. Next question is from longtime viewer, Wee. Good morning, Teacher Bob. Good morning, Wee. Can you explain what is different between get it and got it? Thank you so much and hope you have a good weekend. So there's a couple things I can say right away. If I had a glass of water in the kitchen, I would say I'm going to go and get it. Okay. There's more meanings than that, but that's the first example. I'm going to go and get it. If I already have my glass of water here, I can say I went to the kitchen earlier and got it. So that's using it to actually get something that's a physical item. But we also use this to talk about whether we understand something. So if someone says, I went to class and the teacher explained something new and I didn't get it. Okay, so that would mean you didn't understand it. Like if I say, I don't get it, your explanation doesn't make sense. I don't get it. that means that I don't understand the explanation. And then the past tense, of course, works as well. You could say, if someone says, in order to get to the store, take this street and turn left. Do you understand? And you could say, yep, got it. So when you say got it, it's the same as saying, yes, I understand. Okay. So you could say, I get it, or you could say, got it. Both work. That's a great question, by the way. English is a little bit tricky for sure. Hey, I want to stop and say hi to the 344 people who are watching. Thank you. I just love it when I see that number go really high. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Just a quick repeat of the rules. Please keep the chat over there. I don't know where it is. Please keep the chat in English only. Use it to practice and to have small conversations with each other. Please ask questions using the form. And please, if you are not a subscriber, please consider clicking that red subscribe button right there. Let's get on, though, to the next question. The next question is, let's see here. Eugen from Kharkov. But Eugen said he doesn't live in Kharkov anymore. But originally, he's from Kharkov. Hello, Mr. Bob. I think he said he lives in paradise now. Hello, Mr. Bob. How are you? My question is, what's the meaning of the phrase, you dog? In which situations is it used? And thank you so much. So this is a slang term that you use when you think a guy has maybe asked a girl out and she said yes. It can have sexual overtones, so be careful with this. But if you say to someone, oh, you dog, basically what you're saying is, oh, you're the man. But again, do look it up and don't use this phrase too casually, because again, it can mean something a little bit different, and it does have what I would say is sexual overtone. So be careful with it. But definitely a phrase you will hear on television and in movies. Let me get to the next question. Is from Ahmed. How are you, our beloved teacher? I'm doing well. How are you, Ahmed? I hope things are going well for you. What's the difference between let's start and let's get started? Thank you so much. So they mean the same thing. If I was to say, let's start the lesson or let's get started, you'll notice that when I say let's start, I'm going to want to say what we're starting. Okay, so let's start class. Let's get class started. No, you don't always have to. I think they're almost completely interchangeable. I could say, let's start. Students, are you ready? Let's start. Students, are you ready? Let's get started. There aren't any students over there, by the way. I'm just pretending that there's students over there. There is a microphone here, though. I haven't really shown anyone that, but there is a microphone right off the edge of the screen. And I think since I've started using this mic, the audio has gotten a lot better. Great question, Ahmad. Let's see here. Nathan GR says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? Is it back in the day or back in the days? Thank you. We say back in the day. So if I say, when I was a teenager, I used to not pay a lot for gas for my car because back in the day, gas was really cheap. You can, though, say in the good old days. Okay, so I could say, because in the good old days, gas was cheap. Gas is gasoline. I think you call it petrol in the UK. So again, a couple of examples. When I was a teenager, gas was really cheap because back in the day, things were just cheaper. Or I could say, in the good old days, things were just cheaper. Alina says the microphone is huge. Yeah, it's actually quite big. And it's actually not mine. It is my son's microphone. Funny story, I ordered a new microphone, but because so many people are learning from home and teaching from home, microphones are sold out. That means the online stores don't have any more. So I have to wait till the end of July for my microphone. So I'm very thankful that my son is letting me use his. Hi, Julia Olise in the chat. I see you there. Hi, Nate Indy in the chat as well. Let's see here. And Sajen from Thailand says, hi, Bob, you are kind. I'm from Thailand. Thank you very much for saying hi. Let me get the next question here from Ruslan. I love it that I'm starting to recognize many, many names. So thank you to all of you who ask questions each week. Ruslan says, hello, dear Teacher Bob. How are you today? I'm good, Ruslan. Thanks for asking. What's your favorite sport or outdoor activity, and how often do you do this? Best wishes from Russia. When I was young, I used to run Not a lot, but I liked running enough that I did it sometimes for a few months each year. And sometimes I would even run in a 5K race. I think I ran in about 4 5K races in my life when I was younger, when my knees worked better. My favorite outdoor activity now is simply walking, but walking as exercise. So right now, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 6 days a week, I go for a very, very long walk. And that's very good. It's very helpful, keeps me healthy, keeps my heart healthy. It's my favorite outdoor activity right now. Vitali says, run, Bob, run. Yes. There's a movie called Forrest Gump. And in the movie, they say, run, Forrest, run. So I think Vitali's making a little bit of a joke. Let's see here. Vitali is always quick. He has a quick wit, Vitali does. Let's see here. Next question is from Bilal. It's kind of a grammar question. Let's see how I do. Hello, sir. My question is, what does would mean in this sentence? Is it conditional or is it like might or both? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Who might have thought? I think it's a little bit more like might. I mean, technically it is conditional, right? Like someone may or may not have thought that. But the phrase itself, who would have thought, is simply something you say when something surprising happens. So if all of a sudden your uncle wins the lottery, you could say, who would have thought? That's amazing. Who would have thought that would happen to Uncle Jimmy? I don't know why I called him Uncle Jimmy. I don't have an Uncle Jimmy. So who would have thought? Another way to say it would be, I can't believe it. So who would have thought kind of means I can't believe it, or isn't that amazing? It's one of those types of expressions. Let's see here. Next question from Mahmoud. Mahmoud says, hello, Bob. How are you doing today? My question is, how can we use approach? What is its meaning? So when you are far away from someone and you walk towards them, you start to approach them. You are approaching them, okay? So when you approach someone, it means you're getting closer. But we can also use it when we ask a question. So you could say, tomorrow I'm just going to approach my boss and ask whether I can have more money, okay? So it does technically mean you're getting closer to your boss, but it also means that you are going to try to meet with him. So that there's probably more meanings, Mahmoud, but those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head. Let's see here. Rod is here in the chat. Hi, Rod. Rod is saying, hey, Vitali, Smirnoff, Forrest Gump is a heartwarming movie, isn't it? It is. I still remember when I saw that in the theater with a couple friends of mine. It was really, really fun. Let me get to the next question, though. I'm a little chatty this morning. I'm talking too much. Let's see here. I'm not sure. Mary the Iranian. Morning, Teacher Bob. Hi, Mary. Could you please talk a little bit about historical fluctuations? So a little correction, though, it would be historical fluctuations. So when you talk about something that has changed in the past, you would say that it fluctuates, okay? So let's say that in the past, milk was really cheap, and then a few years later, it was expensive, and then a few years after that, it was cheap again, and the price of milk went up and down. You would say that the price of milk is fluctuating. And if you're talking about it in the past, you would say, so there was a historical fluctuation in the price of milk, or there's a historical fluctuation in the price of milk. Simply means that in the past, the price of milk went up and down. That's a bad example because the price of milk doesn't go up and down. It always stays the same or it goes up. Next question from Steve. Hi, Steve. Steve says, hi, Bob. What do you call the thing that covers you while you sleep? Little correction to the question there. What do you call the thing that covers you while you sleep? Quilt, comforter, blanket, bed cover. Do these words mean the same thing? Thank you. So first of all, in my part of Canada, the really thin blanket that you have on your bed is called a sheet. So we usually have a sheet on the bed. On top of that, we will either have a blanket or a quilt or a comforter or a duvet. We don't usually have a bed cover. Some people do, we don't. All of those are slightly different. A blanket is just something made out of fabric to keep you warm. A quilt is a little thicker. It actually has two pieces of fabric and something in the middle. A comforter is very similar. It's a thicker type of blanket. And then a duvet actually has I think goose down in it or something. I'm not a blanket expert, but they are all just slightly different kinds of blankets. The warmest would be a duvet, and then a comforter, and then a blanket would be the least warm of all of them. My Luxury Boutique has given me a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. I do want to pause and thank all of the people who are members. If you see people who have their name in green over there in the chat, I think I pointed the right way this time. Those are the members of my channel, and they have a little crown beside their name as well. It's good to see all of you. So I got a haircut this morning, and Jen was wondering if I'm starting to go bald or if the clippers didn't work right. You can see right, I can't point very good. Right here, does it look like I'm starting to go bald? Is it actually happening? Is my hair starting to fall out? You do know yesterday I mentioned I'm in my late 40s and that my birthday is during the summer at some point, I guess. Or maybe I just clipped it wrong when I cut my own hair this morning. Anyways, enough about me. Let's go to the next question. So the next question is a weird question. Adam says, hello, Teacher Bob. I know it's a weird question. Should we say I got diarrhea or I have diarrhea? I don't know how to use have and got. So first of all, you can say I've got diarrhea. So notice I said I have got. You could say I got diarrhea, but it sounds like the past tense. By the way, diarrhea is when you're very, very sick and you go to the bathroom a lot. In English, the nice way to say it would be that you go number 2 a lot. So number 1 is when you go pee. Number 2, when we talk to kids, sometimes we'll say, do you have to go number 1 or number 2? Number 2 means you have to go poop. When you have diarrhea, it means you're very sick and you go poop a lot. So here are your example sentences. If someone currently is sick, they would say, I've got diarrhea or I have diarrhea. If they went on a trip and they're telling you about the trip, they could say, oh, I went to the Caribbean and I got diarrhea while I was there. So that's the past tense. So there are some examples. You might need to rewind and listen to that section again. By the way, I'm really happy that I'm inside right now because it is pouring rain outside. I actually thought I should hook up an external camera in the future and have that available when I do an inside live stream so I can show you what it's like outside during the live stream. We'll see though. Let me keep moving though. I'm going a little too slowly this morning. A little too slow. I'm going too slowly this morning. Yeah, don't learn all your English from me because sometimes even I don't say things properly. Next question is from Chico. Chico says, hi, what is the difference between come out of and come of? Get something stronger and strengthen something. Thanks in advance. So when you come out of a store, it means you're in the store and then you come out. So if I was in my van, I would be waiting for Jen to come out of the store. I'm not sure about come of. I can't think of an example when we would put those two words together. But if you want to get something stronger, so if I want to get my muscles stronger, I would lift weights. So if I want to get my muscles stronger, I would lift weights. But if I want to strengthen my muscles, I would lift weights. So you can kind of use both of those. It definitely works. Brett has used the poop emoji in the chat and he says, yuck. But as Brent and I know very well, when you teach a language, you have to talk about everything because you have to know how to say everything. That's just the way it goes. You can't only learn the nice parts of a language. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me get to the next question. I'm reading the chat too much today, which is fun, but let's get to this one. Johnny says, hi, Bob. How are you doing? Little correction there. Some time ago, I heard this expression, cut to the chase. What exactly does that mean? So you could have just used it to tell me to get to the point. So if I am explaining something and I'm taking a really long time and you just want to know the answer, you could say cut to the chase. So if you said, hey, Bob, how do I use the phrasal verb pick up? I could say, oh, the other day, that reminds me, I was at the store and I thought while I was at the store, there were a few things that I needed. And I know as I went up and down and you can hear I'm just talking and talking and talking. You could say, Bob, cut to the chase. Just tell me the answer. And I would say, oh, I needed to pick up some things. So by the way, the phrasal verb pick up can mean to literally pick something up, but it can also mean to go and get something. Like I can go to the store to pick up some groceries. I think you just got 2 answers in one there. That was good. Let's see here. Next question is from Leticia. What do you think is our biggest mistake in trying to learn English? Hello from Brazil, Bob. Hello, Leticia. Hello to all of Brazil as well. I know there are many Brazilians who watch this channel and these videos. I think the biggest mistake is probably not starting to talk to someone in English soon enough, or not starting to speak English out loud soon enough. I think it's very easy when you are learning a language to do a lot of reading and to watch a lot of television and YouTube and movies. And it's very hard to start writing and to start speaking the language. So I would probably put those two together. Biggest mistake is people don't start speaking the language soon enough. Second biggest mistake, they don't start writing the language soon enough. Both are super helpful. The sooner you can start writing, especially, it really helps as a bridge to speaking the language. Next question from Peshawar. How can I use the word figure out? So a few corrections there, Peshawar. How can I use the word figure out? So when you don't know something, you need to figure it out. So if you don't know how to use phrasal verbs, you need to figure out how to use phrasal verbs. It means you need to learn how to do it. You can also say if you have a math problem, 3 plus 4, you need to figure out the answer. So it simply means that you need to solve something, right? You need to solve something or learn how to do something. So a few more examples. I needed to figure out how to use all this new equipment, like this microphone that's really big. It's also really close to the camera. So I needed to figure out how to use all this new equipment over the last month. I also sometimes need to figure out how to best raise my children. So I don't always know the answers. So it simply means that you need to learn how to do something or solve it. I see a question in the chat that says, Bob, how many languages can you speak? I can just speak 2. Native English speaker, and French is a learned language for me. By the way, if you learn English or any language from someone who they themselves have learned a second language, it can be quite helpful. I rely quite heavily on my experience learning French in order to understand what it is like for a lot of you to learn English. It's just super helpful it's like I can be in your shoes, okay? So that means I know what it's like for you. Let's see here. This will be a challenging one, I think. Oscar from Colombia. Hi, Bob. This is Oscar. Hi, Oscar. You know our dog is named Oscar. Sorry about that. It's always a little awkward when your dog has the same name as someone. It's a great name, though. What is the meaning of the word wanky? I have heard this word on Glee this week due to Naya Rivera's case. So you might have heard the word wonky. Let me type that in the chat for a sec. I'm going to talk about the word wonky or wacky. So if something is wonky, if you have a grocery cart and one of the wheels wobbles, you could say the wheel is wonky. When something is wonky, it's not quite normal. When something is wacky, though, we usually use this to talk about a person. A person who is wacky is a little bit crazy. So there you go. So wonky would be something that's not quite right. It's a little bit broken. This is the wheel on the cart, by the way. That's what I'm doing there. And then, yeah, I'm not sure about wanky. You'll have to look that up. It's not a familiar word to me, Oscar. Sorry about that. Next question from Vita from Ukraine. Thank you for your yesterday's video. It was very useful. By the way, once again, yesterday's video was on restaurants. And there is a short version of the video up on my channel right now. I decided to edit the questions out. So both versions are available. You can watch either. You can just search Bob the Canadian Restaurants on YouTube and you'll find it. Some textbooks give a phrase to pay in cash. Is it correct? Or should you say to pay with cash? Thank you. So when I go shopping, sometimes I pay with cash. Sometimes I pay in cash. And this is the problem with English sometimes. And Rodrigo, Rod VIP, and I've talked about this a bit. Prepositions, it's hard to find the exact rules because sometimes we use 2 different prepositions. But I can literally take money and I can go to the store and buy something, and I can pay with cash or I can pay in cash. Both are completely correct. And it's starting to become more rare, especially with COVID. More and more people want to pay with their card or their phone, where it is contactless. So there's no touching or touchless. Let me see here. Next question. It's from Ruben Nunez. Hello, Bob. Is the expression each to their own the same as to each his own? And could you give an example when I can use them? They're both the same. I would use the second one, to each his own. To each his own. It's really quick when I say it, eh? To each his own. And basically what it means is some people like chocolate ice cream. Some people like vanilla. Well, to each his own. Some people like Ford cars. Some people like Toyotas. To each his own. Basically, it's a saying that you say when you recognize that people make different choices and they like different things. And it can also be for dislike, but it basically is just saying, you know, everyone likes different things. That's kind of how the world works. I see a question in the chat from Miquelis Oliveira. Do you teach French too? I do not teach French on YouTube, but I teach French in real life. I actually teach French classes at a high school in Ontario, Canada. So definitely that is something I do. I do want to pause and say thank you to the 588 people who are watching. Again, if you are new here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button. And if there are parts of the video you don't understand, if you come back in a few hours, there will be English automatically generated subtitles that you can turn on. And there might be parts you just want to watch again with the subtitles on in order to understand it a little bit better. So again, if you are not a subscriber, please click that button. Likes are always good too. I don't always ask for those. And then once again, thank you to all of the people who are my members. If you look in the chat, Samuel Chen just said cool. You can see his name is in green and he has a little crown by his name. That's one of the things you get if you are a member. But let's move on to the next question. Where am I here? Hi, Teacher Bob. I have a real difficulty to use the present perfect. Do you have some advice for me? So there's two ways to do grammar. One is I would memorize, this isn't fun, but I would memorize the present perfect using I, because when you have a conversation, you are most likely to use I, and all of your other, I would memorize the present perfect using I, and I would memorize it using the verbs to be, to do, to make, to go, to want, all of the more common verbs. Just get a verb chart and just memorize them using I, and then memorize them using he, she, and we, just so you have those tools at your disposal. Again, learning grammar is not fun. Once you've memorized it, use it as much as you can in actual conversation. So there's no trick. The more you listen to English, the more you will know it. But for sure, I would say do that. Next question from Nathan Macedo. What is the difference between more than and most than? And what are verb tenses what verb tenses are used most in English? Okay, so when I have some water, when it's gone, I need to have more water. So that's one usage of more. But if I say, I have money, my brother has more money, but my sister has the most money, in that picture, I don't have much money. My brother has this much money and my sister has this much. So I have money, my brother has more money, my sister has the most money. By the way, I did a video on that and I can't remember the name of it, but I looked at good, better, best and all of those things. I think it's called superlatives. If you search for Bob the Canadian superlatives, you will find it. What verb tense is used the most in English? Many of them. The one I think is the most important to study is using INGs. So when you say, I am eating, I am going, I am walking, I am talking, I am teaching, I am running, I am falling over. I don't know why I'm falling over. Which I think is the present continuous, is the verb tense that you most will hear the most in English. Let me just check that up. Check that up. Let me just look that up. Check that up is not a phrase we use in English. Let me just look that up, or let me just search that up. Yeah, the present continuous is an important verb tense to know, okay? Because again, you saw how easy it was for me to give examples. So every day I think in normal speech, we would say things like, when are you going to eat? And you would say, I'm going to eat at 10. And then once you are actually in the moment, we don't say, I eat. We say, I am eating. I am making food. I am cooking breakfast. I am eating. I am cleaning up the dishes. I am doing the dishes. That is a very common verb tense. Thanks, Dave, for looking up that video. Awesome. You guys do great work. Todd and Dave, by the way, are super, super helpful. I do want to mention that later this summer, I think in a couple weeks, Todd and Dave both are university students. So we are going to do a live lesson on a Friday morning, I think in about 3 or 4 weeks. And the topic is going to be university and college. And all of the super chats, all of the stickers, all of the money that comes in during that live stream, and all of the money that that video earns is going to be split equally between Dave and Todd. So that's just something I'm going to do as a thank you for them. So look for that in a little while. I think that will be super fun. They are both just awesome and very helpful people. In fact, this here was built by Dave. So Dave built the software that takes questions and puts them on the screen for you. So, and then by the way, Dave and Todd don't do this for free. I mean, they're wonderful people, but I do already give them something to do this for me because they are just awesome and helpful. So thanks, Dave. Thanks, Todd. And look for that lesson coming up in just a while. Hey, I need to make a small change. Give me a second here. I need to flip the chat to members only. So usually about halfway through the lesson, I usually do switch the chat to members only. So if you are a member, sorry, my nose is a little itchy. If you are a member, if you have decided to click the join button below, you get a crown, you get a name in green, and you also get to ask questions in the chat during the Friday and Saturday live stream. So I'm going to turn on members only chat for about 10 minutes. I will still answer questions from the rest of you, but I will also take questions from the chat. Rod says, Mr. Bob, what's the difference between solve and resolve? Thank you, sir. So when you solve a problem, so let's say you have a math problem and you don't know the answer, you need to solve it. Let's say someone stole all of the cookies from your kitchen. You would need to solve the crime. So you need to figure out the answer. When you resolve something, though, it's usually a conflict between two people. So if two of my children are fighting, sometimes I step in to resolve the fight or to resolve the conflict. So they are similar, but usually when you solve something, it's a problem that you just need to figure out. And when you resolve it, it's a little different. Whoa, lots of questions coming in the chat. So let me get going. Samuel Chen says, hi, Bob. I hope this is not too personal. How often do you shave your beard? Once I tried to grow a beard, but failed. Beard is quite manly to me, thanks. So I shave about once a week with clippers, and I cut my hair a little more often. I actually just cut it this morning because I like to keep it short in the summer, especially when it's hot. Nate Indy, can you send a hug for my kids, Julie and Davi? Yes, hi, Julie and Davi. Very nice to meet you. I will give you a wave. Thank you very much for having Nate come and learn English from me. Cal Fiera, hi, Teacher Bob. I hope everything is well. My question is, for a foreigner that wants to work remotely in an English environment, is it necessary to talk using the grammar in the correct way? So generally, I just say your English needs to be good enough that people can understand you clearly. So sometimes I do get phone calls and they are from people in another country, and it can be difficult to understand them. So your English needs to be what we would call functional. You need to have functional English. You don't need to be fluent, but you need to know enough to function in that industry or that job. Sam, the Taiwanese, hi, Teacher Bob. How old do you think kids can own their own cell phones? So that's a tough one. Some people give their kids cell phones when they're 7 or 8. Some people don't let their kids have cell phones till they're 16. We allow our children to have a phone when they are 12, but they are not allowed to have a SIM card. So they can connect to Wi-Fi, but they have a phone. It's actually more like a tablet then. So every parent's different. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm losing track. Oh, or the most important is, can communicate. Last class you said you didn't know how to pronounce my name. The pronouncement looks like Kyle. Oh, Kyle. There we go. Annette Manzi. Hi, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? What is the difference between overall and above all and mostly? I'm not sure I can use overall. So overall would mean like generally. Like overall, I do a pretty good job teaching English. So in general, I do a pretty good job teaching English. Above all means that it's better. So let's say that when I'm doing my lessons, above all, I try to do a good job and I try to speak slowly. So you're highlighting it. And then what was your last one? Let's see here. Overall, above all, and mostly. Mostly is another just a generalization. So mostly I try to answer as many questions as I can. So it's kind of just a qualifier. Sorry, bad explanation, Annette. I tried though. Alina says, it's curious how word building works sometimes. Plum plus apricot equals plumcot. I wonder what it tastes like. Yes, there's another one too. We had broccaflower, so cauliflower and broccoli, and then when they mix those plants together, it's a broccaflower. Don't quote me on that. It might not be correct. Jose Roberto has become a member. Thank you so much, Jose, for joining. Zeev is saying, I'm a member and my name is not green and no star. Zeev Pupko, on my screen, your name is green and you have a crown and you are in the members only chat. So it's definitely working. I'm sorry that you don't have a crown and your name isn't green on your screen, but you are definitely in the members chat. So, and your name is green and you have a crown on my screen. So Vitali, are you going to add more Bob's emojis? Yes, someday. I have a long list of things that I need to work on, Vitali. This past week, I redid my second YouTube channel. It is now called Bob's Short English Lessons. And the English lessons on that channel will be a little bit longer now. So doing more emojis is on the list of jobs to do though. Lolly lolly, each, every. I can't use them in the right way. Can you help me, Bob? Thanks. I can give you an example. So a way you can use them in the same way is I could say, every day I go for a walk. If I want to be a little more specific, I can say, during the week, each day I go for a walk. During the week, every day I go for a walk. In those situations, they mean the same thing, okay? But if I say when I go to the store, I take each one of my kids, that's slightly different than saying I take every one of my kids. Yeah, I'm not doing a good job of this, lolly lolly. I'm sorry. Let me give you a few more examples. Each person has a hat. Every person has a hat. I think I use them the same a lot. Let me look for the difference later. Can you leave a comment with the same question below this video later? And I will try to find a better answer for you. Jack Young here has become a member. Thank you very much. And Regina Kim has given me a super chat. Thank you for your lessons and efforts. Please take care as always. Thank you, Regina Kim. That is nice of you. Madi says, hi, teacher. Would you learn another language? Someday, maybe. If it rained more, I would have more time and then I would learn another language because I spend a lot of time watering flowers right now. But it's raining today. So if I do, I'm not sure when. I might need to be retired when I do it. Let's see here. Kim says, hi, Bob. What's the difference between bargain and bargaining? Thank you. So when you go and buy something and it's really cheap, you can say it's a bargain. But if you want to get a cheaper price, you can bargain with the person who is selling it. You refer to that interaction as bargaining, okay? So if I want something cheaper, I will bargain with the person who is selling it. If you were watching me, you could say, oh, that guy is bargaining, okay? So it's similar to what I was saying about I am eating, I am walking. When you say I am bargaining, it would be the same as saying I bargain. So let me see here. Annette Monzi says, thank you, Bob. Ron says, oh, Ron has joined as a member of the channel. Thanks, Ron, for joining. That's nice of you. And then we have the question from Jayoung here. Hi, I've joined your membership. I'm happy to join your channel. Thank you very much for doing that. I do appreciate it. I think it's raining really hard outside right now. That's good. Alina, Teacher Bob. Yeah, sorry for the mistake in my previous message. It should be tastes for sure. Could you please explain the phrase to have no hand in it? So if you don't have a hand in something, you're not involved in it, okay? So if your brother committed a crime and the police came to your house, you could say, look, I had no hand in it. You know, I was not involved. That was my brother. I was not part of that. I had no hand in it. So it simply means that you weren't part of something. Luciana, you can learn Spanish. Maybe someday. We'll see. And then Jay Young here. Bob, I have a question for you. How can I do it here? You just ask it. You just type it right into the chat. Maybe that is your question. That's a subtle way to ask it. Let me grab another question from the forum. And if you are a member and you still have questions, please ask a few more. Arena says, hi, Teacher Bob. What does it mean when people add the word period at the end of a sentence? So let me reread that. I made a few corrections. What does it mean when people add the word period at the end of a sentence? For example, I don't watch TV, period. Thank you, best wishes from Ukraine. It means they're emphasizing it, okay? So if you, like, I don't smoke, period. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is I'm emphasizing a lot the sentence I'm saying, okay? I don't, usually it's with the negative, like I don't watch TV, period. I don't watch movies, period. I don't smoke, period. I don't drink, period. By the way, in English, drink in that sentence would refer to alcoholic beverages. So that's what it would mean. Hopefully, Arena, that makes some sense for you. Let's see. Lolly Lolly, example. I love reading. I've read every or each book in the library. In that case, you would use every because you're talking about all the books. Like I've read every book in the library. If you said, though, I read each book in the library, you could get away with it. But in that sentence, every does sound better. So I'm going to have to learn a bit more. Do you have any videos about IELTS? That's from Nate. No, I don't have any prep videos for IELTS. I might work on that at some point, but I tend to be really busy, so we'll see. Annette, for people who speak French, I think Portuguese is the easiest language to learn. Thank you, Annette. I will remember that. By the way, Portugal is a very popular vacation destination for Canadians now. Many Canadians go to Florida in the winter, but Canadians who like to go somewhere a little more enjoyable, a little more European, actually fly to Portugal. Let's see. Lolly says, merci Bob, pas de problème. Alina says, I see you, Bob. Thanks a lot. No problem. And then Brent says, we are experiencing a tropical depression here in Maine right now. Lots of rain, very little wind so far. Yeah, we have something similar, Brent. We kind of have like a storm just sitting above us and rain's just kind of falling all day. By the way, Brent also teaches English. So American English with this guy also teaches English on YouTube. He does a live stream most Saturday mornings and other live streams throughout the week. And then I had a funny thought this morning. I thought next week, I'm not sure if Brent uses his phone to do his live stream, but I thought I should Skype Brent in the middle of his live stream just to say hi to him and everyone who's there. So Brent, if that'll work, we'll see. I don't know. My internet is not perfect. It's getting fixed this week though. So maybe we'll do something fun like that. I'm so happy, period. Yeah, that would be a good way to emphasize it. Let me just pop back over. I'm going to turn off members only chat. I do want to once again say to everyone who is a member, thank you so much for supporting my channel. You've seen that I have been using your money wisely. I have made a lot of changes over the last month, and I am trying to deliver better content, more content, and use better equipment to do it. One of the biggest changes was how I do live streams with the questions on the screen, but also on my second YouTube channel, Bob's Short English Lessons. I have a new format. I'm trying to answer questions more often from viewers. So thank you for being viewers, supporters, and members of my channel. Anyone who wants to support, join button is down there. Let's see here. Oh, Brent, maybe you could grab a second phone. Yeah, let's figure something out. I'll send you an email later and we'll figure something out because I thought that would be fun if you're doing your lesson and all of a sudden the Skype do. I can't sing, by the way. I'm trying to make the Skype call sound. If that went off while you were doing your live stream, let's talk and we'll see if we can figure something out next week. Where was I? I've lost track of where I was. I need to answer questions. Let me get the next question. Next question is from Seung Hoon Lee from Korea. When I have a meeting with someone who is a native speaker, I sometimes feel trouble to do small talk. So, little correction. When I have a meeting with someone who is a native speaker, I sometimes have trouble making small talk. Could you please give tips for me to make small talk more easy, or to make small talk easily? So I did a video on it. Maybe Dave can look that one up too. There's a video on Bob the Canadian small talk. Dave, if you could look that up and link it in the chat. Basically, what I recommend is this. You should always be ready to talk about the weather, what you did last week, sports. There was another one I can't think of. People's family, if you know them well. Like, hey, how are the wife and kids? That's a common thing to say if you know the person. But yes, there's definitely a video, because what I recommend is that there are things you are always ready to talk about in English, okay? Not politics, not religion. Let's leave those be. But you should be able to talk a little bit about sports, a little bit about the weather, a little bit about the kinds of things that people, hey, you been anywhere fun lately? Or if it's late in the week, what are your plans for the weekend? So watch that video. Dave has the link in the chat. Thank you so much, Dave, for doing that. Being prepared for small talk is the best. Okay, so having some phrases memorized in advance are really good. Steve says, when do I have to use Mrs., Ms., or Miss? So here we go. Mrs. is the pronoun that people use if they're married. Ms. is the pronoun they use if they don't want it to be apparent whether they are married or not. And it's very common in North America for people to use Ms. And Miss would refer to someone who is younger and not married. So there you go. Let's see. Oh, I've had this request before and I have not made this video yet. Mojin says, hi, Mr. Bob. How are you doing? Today, can you please make a video explaining how to point out the direction or guiding a lost person? I think that would be an interesting topic. Thanks. So a lot of times, if you go to a touristy area, there will be people there who speak English, and they might say to you, hey, how do you get to the nearest pizza shop? And you might want to practice your English, but you don't know how to say, okay, walk that way for 3 blocks and then turn left. Wait, that's right. Walk that way for 2 blocks and then turn left. When you see the subway, you're almost there, turn right, and the pizza shop will be just down the road. So Modine is asking if it would be possible for me to make a video on how to give someone directions in English. That would be a good idea, because I often recommend, if you want to practice your English, that if you live close to an area where a lot of English tourists come and visit, when there's no COVID-19, that is a great place to go and maybe have casual conversations once in a while. And they will ask you how to get places. That's probably going to be something they ask. Fantal, can you give me the best series to learn English? So I used to recommend that people watch Friends, but it's getting a little bit old. So Friends is a sitcom. It's a short television show from a number of years ago. It's on Netflix, I think, or it was. But it's starting to get dated. When we say something is dated in English, it means it's starting to get a little bit old. So right now, I highly recommend reality television show. I usually recommend Survivor or The Amazing Race, because you are likely to hear very authentic English conversations on a reality television show. On The Amazing Race, when 2 people are arguing while they're trying to do a task on the show, it's unscripted. So they didn't memorize their lines so they could say them like normal television. On reality TV, it's very unscripted. They say what they think. So it's very authentic for sure. Let's see here. Let me get to the next question. Next question is from Bapu from Bishkek. Hi, dear Teacher Bob. Hi. I wish you all the best. Thank you for your amazing videos. Could you please explain to me the difference between increase and boost? So if you want to increase the power of a car, you want to boost the power of a car. Okay, so if your car has a certain amount of power and you put in better gas because you want to increase the amount of power, you are putting the gas in because you want to boost the amount of power. So they are somewhat similar. They both refer to making something bigger or greater or larger. but it depends on the situation. So I want to increase the amount of exercise I do, so I'm going to start walking longer every day. I want to boost the amount of exercise I do, so I'm going to start walking more every day. We would more likely use the word increase. Boost is usually used more in commercials or when people like, if you need a boost, right? Or something like that. So, but they're very, very similar. Let me see here. Pasha from Russia. Hi, Bob. With best regards from Russia. Sorry, when I laugh, it means I've pre-read the question a bit. And I start to laugh sometimes. Can you explain to me how to resolve the problem of middle age? Thanks a lot. I believe I know it. So middle age. So when you look at life, you are young. And then we say like you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s. When you're in your 20s, you're like 24 years old, 27. When you're in your 30s, and then eventually you are middle age. When you are middle age, it's like probably late 30s to mid 50s. You're middle aged. I'm middle aged. I'm a middle aged man. So Pasha is asking, how do you resolve the problem of being middle aged? Well, you can't. You can't age backwards. You can only get older. So the only way to resolve the problem of being middle aged is to just enjoy it. I think every stage in life has something different to enjoy. So you just have to enjoy it as best as you possibly can. Let's see here. I just like to kind of look over at the chat once in a while. Julia Oli says, I watch Gordon Ramsay's channel and SpongeBob. SpongeBob is a cartoon. So I shaved this morning and now I'm itchy. It's not nice. SpongeBob is a cartoon. Maybe not the best way to learn English, but certainly a good way to practice your listening skills and to enjoy some good humor for sure. Let's see here. Ling says, hi, do you have any recommendation for ice wine in Canada? So I don't. I live close to a lot of vineyards and they make what's called ice wine. Ice wine is when they let the grapes freeze on the vine in the fall. So as winter approaches, they don't harvest the grapes. They leave the grapes on the vine. And then when it is below -8 degrees Celsius for a number of hours, they harvest the frozen grapes and they make wine out of it, and it's called ice wine. There are a lot of really good ice wines close to us. It is called a dessert wine as well, because generally you drink an ice wine for dessert, for sure. I do want to pause for a minute and give my normal blurb. Please subscribe if you are not a subscriber. Please join if you want to support the channel. Give me a thumbs up if this video is helping you learn English. And do come back and watch some parts of this tomorrow, as there will be some automatically generated English subtitles for you. So if there's parts you don't understand, it's always worth a visit tomorrow just to see. Let's see here. Igor says, very briefly, tell about job. So Igor, here's how you would say that. You would say, tell us a little bit about your job, or tell us a little bit about what you do for work. Tell us a little bit about your job. So I have 2 jobs, 3 if you count YouTube, because it's kind of like a job now. I am a high school teacher. I teach French, business, and computer studies. I am also a farmer. I help Jen grow flowers on our flower farm. Right now, I am on summer holidays. So teachers in Canada do not work for 2 months during the summer. Instead, we take classes, we relax because it's our holiday, and sometimes we start to plan for the next school year. So that is a little bit about my job. Again, you would probably say, tell me a little bit about your job, or tell me a bit about what you do for work. Those would both be 2 great ways to ask someone about their job. Yeah, Sarah. Sarah says, hey, Teacher Bob, thank you. There are so many synonyms in vocabulary, but I don't know how to use the appropriate one in speaking. So English is a language full of synonyms. Synonyms are words that are basically interchangeable, and you just use whichever one you feel like it. You just use whichever one you want. You just use whichever one you have a desire to use at that time. You just use whatever one you choose. So notice I just gave you 4 sentences with 4 different ways of describing the action I was doing. So just do as much listening as possible. Do not worry about learning all the synonyms. If they do mean exactly the same thing, Use the one you are most comfortable with. As you speak more English, you will start to use more and more. Brent says, subtitles are available right now as you speak. I have them on right now. Yeah, so YouTube at some point, my live streams sometimes have subtitles right away, most of the time, and sometimes they aren't there till later. So I'm not sure how that all works. And I do try to speak as clearly as possible so that the automatically generated subtitles are correct. But sometimes I speak too fast and it puts the wrong word in. Let's see here. Ahmed Al-Shara, ask him if he wants to read a book or for you to tell him a story. Can you explain the use of for in this sentence and what's the purpose of it in the sentence? Let's see. Ask him if he wants to read a book for you to tell him a story, or for you to oh, I see. Let me read. I'm not being very intelligent here. There's two phrases here. Ask him if he wants to read a book, or ask him for you. Oh, let me just read this again. Ask my brain. It's almost been an hour, hasn't it? My brain's slowing down. Ask him if he wants to read a book, or for you to tell him a story. Okay, so here's what I can understand. You could say, ask him if he wants you to read him a book, or ask him if he wants you to tell him a story. So you kind of have two separate ideas going on here. Ask him if he wants to read a book, or ask him if he wants you to tell him a story. They mean the same thing. You can read someone a story or read someone a book. Sorry, I'm not doing a great job here, but we are looking at two sentences that are, I think, communicating a very similar thing. Let me get to the next question. Next question is from Igor Minav. Hi, Bob, dear friend. I can understand, I'm sure, but what's the meaning of for sure? If someone says to me, hey, can you help me on Saturday? I need to move some furniture. I could say for sure. So it basically means yes. Okay. Hey, Bob, can you teach me? Hey, Bob, can you answer my question about the English language? Sure. For sure. Yes. No problem. For sure. So that just means yes. When I say I'm sure, it can mean two things. If you say, if I say to you, it's raining outside, and you say, really? I can say, I'm sure. I can see the rain coming down out of the window. It simply means I'm confident with my answer. Okay. But if I say it sarcastically, it means I don't believe you. So if you say, I have $1 million, and I say, I'm sure, basically it means I don't believe you. So you kind of have to listen to the intonation of how the word is said. Hello, Bob. I would like to know, what is the best way to learn the 44 sounds in English in your opinion? Thank you. Well, here's two things. One, I didn't know there were that many sounds, but there probably are. And two, you don't have to learn all of them perfectly. Okay, so let's talk about accents. If you are a Spanish speaker and you are learning English, you're going to have a slight Spanish accent. Don't worry about it. Okay, it's better to learn the language than to perfect the accent. Okay. Secondly, you need to say these English words out loud as much as possible. You need to start speaking English even if there's no one to talk to, because if you want to lift something heavy, you have to lift weights to train your muscles. If you want to dance, this is me dancing, you have to train your muscles. If you want to make sounds in English, you're physically training your muscles in your mouth and tongue and throat to make those sounds. So if you don't say things out loud, you won't be able to make the sounds as clearly as possible. So a big thing I recommend is narrate your life. So just talk when you're by yourself about everything you're doing. I'm driving to work. I'm listening to the radio. I'm rolling down the window. Oh, we don't roll down the window anymore. We just push a button. I'm singing along to the radio. So as long as you are exercising your mouth, the sounds will start to become a lot clearer. So make sure you're doing that for sure. Next question here is from Diego from Argentina. Hi, Teacher Bob. How are you? I'm good, Diego. Thanks for asking. My question is, why is the word important so hard to pronounce? It's important. So important. That's an important question. I'm an important person. I'm not an important person. That's an important thing to think about. It's important that you call your mom once in a while. I should call my mom today. It's important. So important. Important. Just take those 3 sounds, try to practice them individually, because important. That's the best I can do. I hope that helps just a little bit. Let me get to another question. Margaretha, hi Bob. Please explain the difference between later and later on. Thanks in advance. Best wishes from Ukraine. So a way to use them in the same way is I could say later on, I'm going to the store. Later, I'm going to the store. In that situation, it means the same thing. But what I could say is, I'm trying to think of a way to use them differently. I'm going to do that later. I'm going to do that later on. If someone leaves, I can say later. Someone leaves, I can say later on. No, I don't quite say that. No, they are almost identical. Okay, so later on this weekend, I'm going to have a nap. Later this weekend, I'm going to have a nap. Usually when I talk about the future, the example I give is that I'm going to have a nap at some point. Last question, folks, and we're going to wrap this up. Raham says, should I say there is a big number of pens or there are a big number of pens? I think that is... Oh, I see. You should say there is a big number of pens. There are. So here's the thing. Technically, you should say there are a big number of pens. You would probably say there are a lot of pens, first of all. That's my slight correction. In English, though, we sometimes take there and is, and we say theirs, and we use it the same way we use there are, okay? So here's what you could say. There is a lot of pens. There are a lot of pens. The second one is most correct, but a native English speaker speaking informally would probably say, wow, there's a lot of pens. There's a lot of pens. Are you talking about the pen you write with or the pen that you keep pigs in? I'm not sure which one. So again, the most correct way to say it would be there are a lot of pens, but you will hear people like me say, wow, there is a lot of pens in this barn, or there's a lot of pens in this barn. So there you go. Anyways, folks, that's the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, there is a restaurant lesson that you can watch if you have not watched it yet. Thank you once again to all of the people who came and asked questions. I'm just going to do one thing here. Give me a sec. I'm going to change the question to the original one. Don't forget, tomorrow or now or in a few hours, whenever, there are English subtitles that you can use to rewatch parts of this lesson if there were parts you didn't understand. Thank you so much for those of you who are subscribers. There is a button here you can use to subscribe. Thumbs up if you liked this video and it helped you learn some English. Thanks to all of the people who are here. Thanks to my members. Thanks to Dave and Todd for always helping out in the chat and keeping things orderly. Thanks to Brent from American English with This Guy for helping answer some questions in the chat as well. And then again, I just want to say bye. Have a good weekend. It's Saturday. It's raining. It's a good day when you are a farmer and it is raining. It means you get to relax just a little bit. Anyways, bye everybody. I'll see you on, let's see, if you go to my second channel, Bob's Short English Lessons, there will be a video there Monday. If you are watching my main channel, Learn English with Bob the Canadian, there will be a new English lesson here on Tuesday. Anyways, bye.